Welcome into another Red Out podcast. My name is Devin. We're in here tonight talking some football, basketball. No, we're not talking basketball. Anyway, let's get into it.
Hey,
There we go.
hey, how about them tops, son?
All day, SEC boys. SEC, they supposed to be SEC. Crazy all day, baby.
You're listening to the Red Out Podcast.
I am not ashamed to admit in the past, I've needed a therapist. We all need someone, and it's a strong person who can admit it. I talked to my doctor, who referred me to a therapist, and I really didn't have much say as to who the therapist was. But with this episode's sponsor, Betterhelp, you do. You can filter out who you would like to talk to, age, gender, the person who works best for you. And if the person isn't exactly who you were wanting, you're not stuck. You can switch counselors. BetterHelp strives to offer affordable, professional, and accessible online therapy. So go to betterhelp.com/redout today to save 10%. By doing this, you not only support us, you can work toward a brighter, healthier you. Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this episode. All right. Welcome back, guys. We're going to get into some football here. Let me get my notes pulled up. I've been working on them part of the afternoon. Jared, how's it going, bud?
It's good. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. So I guess just right off the bat, I'm going to kind of go after Jared a little bit, inadvertently. Loser, the Dolphins neurologist.
Honestly, just the Dolphins in general.
Pretty rough for you, huh?
Yeah, it's amazing how fast the air can get let out of our balloon of being the top team and now losing our starting quarterback for the foreseeable future. And I mean, it's just a hot mess. I mean, I hope that there's good that comes out of this situation with Tua, of course. Like, he took that pretty solid hit to the ground and it basically knocked him out and everything. I mean, his bell was rung for sure, and like his
Definitely.
body, like his hands is what was so scary. Like his fingers, he went to like fencing response, which is when you have like severe head trauma, essentially. So I'm hoping he can get better soon. I mean, he's such a great guy. I hate it. He's crippled with injuries basically since he left Alabama to be on the Dolphins. He was looking so good to start the season too. I mean, as much as he wants to play, I mean, he does need to think about his health. And I mean, everybody thought he had a concussion on Sunday against the Bills and then played on Thursday and then got for sure a concussion from that. So, I mean, you got to take care of your head. I mean, CTE is real and very, very
definitely.
devastating. So, I mean, I hope the best for him. I hope he gets well soon and he can play again at some point. But at the same time, I mean, you got to think about your personal well-being.
I mean, it's an investment, really. I mean, if he nobody's gonna have a career like Tom Brady. I'm sorry, this is just crazy.
Except Bailey Zappi, which is our winner, obviously.
Okay. I'll give you Bailey Zappi could have a Tom Brady, but my thing with Brady is it's the length of the career. You know, not many quarterbacks make it that long. Look at Peyton. Peyton was about the same time as Brady.
Well, it looks like it cost Brady his wife because they're getting a divorce. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, that was
Ooh.
announced today. So details of that are a little bit public. So that's kind of horrible.
It's probably because him and Gronk have been too close.
Probably. That and Giselle probably wanted him to retire, and he did. And then he realized he has a wife and kids that he has to be around 24/7. He's like, nah.
I'm sorry, but his wife just looks high maintenance. That's all I'm saying.
Probably.
And I am not a high maintenance guy. Like that's not my thing. Like I'm not doing that.
He's maybe to the grind of football.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe my second wife, but definitely not first. But anyway, yeah. But as far as like the Dolphins neurologist, from everything I've heard, and of course my source is a punter that used to be in the NFL, was that the Dolphins neurologist was fired because basically he refused to cooperate.
Yeah,
I mean, and that's just BS. You know, there should be a layer of transparency. You know, you're treating a
player, I saw this on the CAT scan, or I saw this, and I just assumed it was okay.
Hmm.
It's not a misdiagnosis. It's just me being,
Well, it is a little bit of a misdiagnosis. Everybody's thought that that was a concussion. Just the way he responded after he got up from that hit against the
yeah.
Bills. I mean, he was woozy. He was completely disoriented. A back injury is not going to make you feel disoriented like that.
And I agree. I'm just saying, like, I would said misdiagnosis, but like I'm saying, like, just be transparent and say I misjudged the situation is what I'm saying. Not, yeah, he looked concussed, but when we tested him, his test scores were around this area. You know what I'm saying? Because like even at
Yeah.
Western, towards the end of my tenure, um, they had concussion protocol set up, and they had all the players come in and test during camp, and all these players would come in, and then after you get your bell rung, so to speak, they would go test, and they would
Hmm.
see what that result corresponded to the baseline test. And I mean, it shows a lot on there. We actually had a guy who tested better after his concussion than he did before.
That would be
So
me.
true story. That's a
That's
true
how you
story.
become a savant. I know people tripping and falling and hitting their head on something and being like a proficient piano player, or architect, or something after hitting your head. I mean, who knows?
Gosh, if that was it, I'd just be like, "Oop,
I feel, but
down the
Devin, with
stairs."
being any type of health person with football, I feel like the hardest part is just trying to tell the player, be like, you can't come back in, especially when they are so competitive. And it's like, put me back in there. I feel okay. Just let me go help my team. Like, I mean, you just have to tell them no, and that's probably the hardest part of that.
Do you know what we did? I'll tell you
What'd you
straight up.
do?
Um, because with a concussion, like they've got like a 10-second memory, some of them.
Hmm.
So you'd literally it'd be like, Jared, you're out. You've got a concussion. You cannot go back in the game.
Hmm.
And just doing that, you'd go up to coach and you'd be like, hey, coach, I'm good to go. And the coach would be like, what? Okay, yeah, get back in there. Go on. And then,
Yeah.
the trainers would be like, or the doctors or whoever would be like, why is he in? He doesn't need to be in. Blah. Well, we steal their helmets.
Hmm.
So what we would do is, we would tell coach, your position coach, Jared's out. He's got a
Hmm.
concussion. And coach would be like, okay. You'd go up to coach and be like, hey, coach, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. And coach would be like, hey, where's your helmet? And then you'd go look for your helmet. And we've already pulled it. It's probably in the locker room by now. You're not going to find that helmet. So yeah, that's what we'd do. They would go look for their helmet, and coaches would know, hey, he's not ready. He can't find
And
his
then they would
gear.
come back to the coach and be like, "Hey, I'm ready to come back in." He's like, "Okay, go find your helmet," and just repeat that process probably 50 times.
You laugh. Like my little brother got a concussion when he was little. There was a porch swing, and he was pushing off the edge of the porch on this porch swing, and he missed. Well, as he goes down, he sits up, and the swing caught him in the head. Bam! First concussion he ever got. He got several. Um, First concussion he ever got. That's what it was. And they were taking him to the ER. My parents were taking him, and he he kept asking, "Where are we? Where are we going? Where are we? Where are we going?" And it was just like, oh my god. My mom's like, oh, is there something
Man.
wrong with him? And it's like, he's got a concussion. Just relax. It's okay. I did have one player at Western. He played tight end who actually thought he was in a Nintendo game. Funniest thing
Oh
ever.
no.
Yeah, yeah. Like after he got concussed, he thought he was in a game. I was like, good gosh, man. Um, there's, and I mean, of course, as far as I know, they're fully functional adults now. But it's just one of those things that it's crazy.
Hmm.
Um, I remember in high school, I played with a guy who actually got hit, and he got hit in like the first of the third quarter or the end of the second. I can't remember. And he's sitting on the bench. Coaches are like, "You ain't, you got your bell rung. Something's not right." Blah blah blah. And he just sat there on the bench, and like a crazy serial killer, he
Hmm.
just stared straight into space and just nothing. And then I don't remember if they put him back in the fourth, because we didn't have a trainer at our school. when I was there. I can't remember if they put him back in or not, but the next day he's like, I don't remember the third quarter at all. And it's like, good God, man, it's just wild. But did you have any other winners or losers?
Well, Tom Brady was my other loser because of, the divorce and things, which sucks. That's whatever, I guess. But and the fact that that's all public too, that really sucks.
Yeah.
But the biggest winner has to be Bailey Zappi, just for the
Oh,
fact
definitely.
that he is basically becoming the new Tom Brady. That's what everyone is hyping him up to be. So we'll see. I hope he has the success that Tom Brady has, minus the cheating and being a crybaby.
Well, I will say I sent Jared a video of Ryan Fitzpatrick
Mhm.
talking about why he hated Tom Brady, and it was basically one year when Buffalo beat the Patriots. Tom refused to shake his hand because that's what
Yeah.
quarterbacks always do. They always go out on the 50, shake each other's hand, best of luck, blah blah blah. And Tom Brady was like, I ain't having it. And he just walked off. So, and I
Yeah.
don't blame Ryan Fitzpatrick at all, because I would be, to be disrespected like that, I'd be like, really? Come on, man.
Yeah.
Um,
Just butthurt 24/7.
I completely get that. We'll jump into other sports news real quick at Western. Callie Bayer, she got third in Conference USA, or her third week in a row for getting Conference USA Setter of the Week. So congratulations to her. MTSU and Western ended their series, or ended their match with a tie, 1-1. That's in WKU soccer. Should have kind of proofread my notes here. And then of course, WKU volleyball had double-digit aces, which marks the 11th sweep of the season over Charlotte.
There we go.
That is wild. They've got it. They've beaten them
Dominant.
11 series. They've beaten them.
Mhm.
So awesome job. And Lady Tops tennis actually finished pretty strong in the MT Invitational. So congratulations to them too. Okay, let's get to the depressing part that I don't want to talk about. Troy. I loathe Troy. Like
Mhm.
when we played them back in the Sunbelt days, and even like I guess kind of, well, it was Sunbelt basically. I loathed Troy, and I just this past weekend just set it off again. I was just like, oh my gosh.
I knew this would
Um,
be a close game. People didn't want to believe me. I saw everybody else's score predictions on the towel rack. I was like, this is going to be a close game. And sure enough, it was. And we were on the losing end of it, which sucks.
yes, but both of us actually said it within a score. I do believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I had 32-24, which 8 points, and you had 28-21, which you were pretty close. So I can't knock it there. I think there were just some dumb decisions made on both sides.
Hmm.
Um, Coaching wise, like Troy, I think made, like, they could have easily scored on us at the end of that first half, or
Hmm.
they should have, if the coaches hadn't kind of, instead of spiking it there. I don't know why they didn't spike it there right at the end of the first. The ball was down in the red zone. They, instead of spiking it, they just ran a play, and I'm like, I get running a play, but you're losing that time. You could have added an extra play there,
Yeah.
and ended up having to kick a field goal. But that was one of those moments I was like, that's not a smart play.
Hmm.
Like in football, like there's certain plays that happen. It's going to happen. And maybe that's why they didn't go with it. I don't know. Um, I will say I did think it was funny that Diggy did get back in. So my
Hmm.
title of the episode was really good.
Yeah. And he was the one that ended up getting the win, which is definitely more fuel to the fire than
Betrayal.
that, I guess. Yeah.
Um, yeah, when Diggy came back in, I was like, oh my gosh, are you serious? I was like, well, it, and I knew it was going to be tough for Western going into the fourth, with fourth quarter. Right after Troy had scored two against us, I think they scored two that time. Um, After they had scored the two touchdowns, Western comes they're coming down to it, and they've got to score two more, and they actually scored one. and they're coming back down the field with like 3 or 4 minutes to go, and ended up fumbling, losing the game right there. And honestly, up until that fumble, I thought Western had it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, they could easily tie this. They're doing pretty good on this drive. Let me see. Yeah. Troy had scored the 2 touchdowns. One right after right into the fourth at 14:54, and the other was at 7 minutes to go. And Western scored one at 4:20.
Nice.
And he got the ball back and was about to drive down the field, and then Reed fumbled.
Mm-hmm.
So, stat wise, Western did pretty good. We had 470 total yards, which is kind of sad, right?
Yeah.
Troy only had
compared to
400.
normal.
Well, Troy only had 415, so they've got less yardage than we do, which tells me that they had better field position when they got the ball than we did.
Yeah.
We're running further than they are. And actually, something else. I don't know. Did you watch the game?
I didn't get to see it.
Okay. Right before the end of the second, minutes ago, Western's marching down the field, and Reed keeps throwing these quick quick passes. Receiver gets out of bounds. Everything's golden. Everything's going good. Excuse me. And no huddle, high tempo, quick stuff. And then like second half, we didn't do that at all. And I never figured out why.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if the guys were just exhausted and they were like,
Maybe.
well, we can't go back to that. They can't handle it. And I may be wrong. I'm not saying I'm right or anything. These are just hypotheses, but it's just one of those things that it was like, that was working. I don't know why we went away from it. Or maybe it's something they're wanting to do more in conference than out of conference. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, either way, I mean, you want to stick with what works, and that hurry up offense has been working for us. But I mean, I think that is kind of what cost us in the Indiana game, especially, is that we were just completely out of gas at the end of that one.
Yeah.
And just kind of started falling apart. But I mean, hopefully, we're getting close to that midseason point where hopefully getting the stamina back up and everything. But I mean, you really want to stick with what's working, and that's kind of disappointing. And then also with this game against Troy, it was the first time that Western's been held under 30 points in 18 games.
Yeah.
Which is pretty crazy to think about. I mean, it was still 27 points, but at the same time, 30's been that benchmark the past 18 games in a row. And it was the longest in the FBS. And I think that Western had posted about that prior to the game of that record, and we lost it basically immediately.
Yeah. And then, of course, my brain, the announcers were like, this is the 9th time that Troy has beaten Western, hoping to make it 10. And I was just like, why do you got to say that?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you got to say it like that? And then Troy actually ended up beating us and extended their series to 10 wins. And I don't even remember how many losses. I'd have to look it up. But yeah.
And it also still kind of furthers all of our points as far as the Sun Belt being better than Conference USA, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's a hard case to. And here's my thought too: is seeing where Troy's going to end up after beating us, and then where will Western end up after losing to them?
We've got a long road ahead of us. We have UTSA
really
at UTSA this next game, which we'll talk about, and then the week after that is Middle, and Middle beat Miami at Miami. And then, of course, we have FAU down the road, and
and not to overlook UTSA. UTSA beat Middle.
Yeah.
So that's another thing to think about too.
And then, of course, you have Auburn thrown in the mix of all of that.
Yeah, Auburn just adds a whole nother fun level to this. Just a couple quick stats here. Western had 406 yards passing, 64 rushing. I hate it anytime we're under 100 yards rushing.
I agree. You got to have some solids. I know that we're a pass-heavy team, obviously, but if we can open the run game up, that will help the passing offense so much. Because everyone is going to have somebody in the backfield, always, like have quarters back or something, just that extra coverage or whatever. if you want to be able to try to get the defense to think that they could be a run chance, but they don't really think.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely want those corners on their toes rather than their heels.
Yeah, exactly.
When it comes to run pass game, so then it's going to open up things once if you can get if you're going heavy pass, then you need to start running so you can because it's it's kind of one of those things like with kids or anybody else. If you're giving them something, every time they do something, they're expecting it, and then you stop doing it, and then they expect it.
Yeah.
So like Army, Navy, or Navy is the big one. I think they
Mhm.
always run the ball, except for like once a game they'll pass it, and that's the one time that it burns you bad.
Yeah, they could have one pass and one passing touchdown for the game, but yet that one touchdown could be enough to make them win.
Exactly, and that's where I'm going with it. It's they, they've always got that opportunity to score because of that crazy just one play, and you overlook it because you're just thinking it's a run, and they're passing. So yeah, you definitely have to open that up. The biggest thing for me, and I think it was a big second half thing, was penalties. Western had ended up with 9 penalties for 85 yards. Troy had 7 for 69. Troy, I think their first half was a lot of penalties. A lot of those penalties hurt them majorly because of like where they were. There was a couple drives that were kept alive because Troy had some goofy penalties, and I mean even the refs called out one of the penalties that Troy threw a pass out of the back of the end zone because the quarterback was rushed, and they said it was intentional grounding, and the refs or the people in the booth were like, that's not a penalty, that's a horrible call. They're like, he can do that, which I was like, I don't remember on that one. But it was just like, okay. Um, but Troy capitalized in the red zone 5 out of 5 times. Western had 3 chances in the end zone to capitalize, and they did on all 3. But if you can't get there, what's that matter?
Exactly.
I mean, they got there 5 times, we got there 3. So, and of course we had 2 turnovers, 1 fumble lost, and Troy had 1 turnover. But it just hurts when, especially that last turnover, which that's nobody's fault, but it's just something that happens. But you have to, and we did have. I had to remember this. We did have a big man catch, which was great.
Yes.
It converted on 4th down for us. Loved it. I was just as soon as I saw what was going on, like because there was a split second there. I was like, "What is going on? Is this live? Like is this a live ball?" Um, and big man caught it, and I cannot think of his name. I'm gonna have to look it up on my team stats here. Oh, receiving. Here we go. Oh, was it Gunnar Britton? I think
Probably,
that's his name.
yeah. He's offensive lineman.
Yes, it is. Gunnar Britton, yes. He got 12 yards. Way to go, big guy. I love it. He actually got more yards than Simon and Poindexter, which is crazy.
I don't like that. I
don't
don't
either.
like that.
Poindexter, I'm guessing it was a screen because he didn't get any yards out of it. And Simon got 2 receptions for 11 yards, and then Britton got
We've
the 12
got to get
yards.
him more involved.
Well, and then of course Robichaux's right in front of Britton. But yeah, I definitely agree. We got to get Poindexter more involved. But Poindexter,
No, I'm talking about Simon.
Oh yeah, I agree. But and here's my thing too: is Simon had a pretty bad game. What game was that? He had a couple of mess ups on. Was it Indiana? I can't remember. It was a couple of weeks back. I can't remember if it was FIU or Indiana that he had a couple FUBARs, and it sounds bad, but quarterbacks are going to go to who they trust. If they think you're going to bobble or something's going to happen, they're not going to look to you as much. And Simon's got to get that confidence back from Reed and himself to do a little bit better. Excuse me. I'm fighting back a belch. I'm just like, oh my gosh. Well, we as aside here, I went to Target today because I'm a basic B, as my wife would say, and I found something called I think it's called liquid IV stickers or something, and it's basically like stuff to add to water. It's supposed to make you more hydrated with like a single glass of water or something. It tastes like Gatorade, lemon lime Gatorade. It's not bad, but I just feel overly hydrated now, so I'm like trying not to burp. Um, yeah, the Troy game was really. I thought Western had a chance there at the end. Um, I know Matt was very he's always really pumped up anyway, and he thought Western had a really good shot there towards the end, and I think they did up until that fumble. I mean, obviously, when they fumbled with a minute to go, I knew the game was over. That was it. But excuse me. Yeah, those were my observations on the game. What are your closing thoughts on the Troy game, Jared?
I mean, it's still disappointing, and also for the fact that it was like parent weekend too, and there was over 20,000 people in the house. I feel like Western has lost every single game where they've had over 20,000 people in the house. Every single time we get a big crowd for once, like all they do is gripe about attendance and everything. And then when everybody shows up, we lose every single time. It doesn't matter if it's Vanderbilt, it doesn't matter if it's Indiana, it doesn't matter if it's Troy. We always lose that game, and I can't understand for the life of me why that happens.
Ooh, excuse me. Yes. Well, I mean, yes, we had 20,168. Capacity is 23,776. So, and that's just that's the numbers that were given. I will say the old side of the stadium or the new side of the stadium looked pretty sparse, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably all in the
Especially up in the
HUD.
top, which whatever. Okay, so UTSA. There's a couple of crazy stats here. Western is averaging about 43 points a game. Points against is 22. And UTSA's 38 points per game, 34 points against. And here's the crazy stat. Western and UTSA both average about 500 yards per game.
Man, it's just like
Is
from
that
last
wild?
season.
Yes. Obviously we're a little heavier passing. 350 passing, 147 rushing. They've got 365 passing, 135 rushing. So they're heavier on the passing than we are, which crazy.
Yeah.
Yards allowed, 352 for us, while UTSA has 441. So we're both actually sitting at the same record. We're both 3-2, and 1-0 in Conference USA. So this will decide who stays undefeated in Conference USA.
I mean, there's always a lot riding on this game, especially last season, because, I mean, the first time we played them was a completely close game, super duper close game that we lost. And then we played them for the Conference USA Championship last season, which was another
don't even
very
remember.
close game that we
Yeah.
lost. And that was with Zappy, that was with Stearns, that was with our best players. But that was also when UTSA had Sincere McCormick, which was a really, really good running back. But thank God he is gone. So there's not as much of a run threat. That's probably why they're passing it so much with Frank Harris. But man,
Yeah.
they still have a lot of the same pieces as they did on the team that won the championship last season. So
Yes.
I'm not feeling great going into this weekend, because this is my hot take, and I said this earlier in the group chat, is that, I mean, we can't really help it, but I mean, we haven't beat anybody that's good, because
No.
we started the season with Austin P and won, which I mean, usually we lose to FCS teams for whatever reason, but finally we won that one. And then, of course, Hawaii, which Hawaii had been torched by Vanderbilt the game before us, and that was kind of an indicator of how that would go, and we ranked them pretty well. And then,
Yeah.
of course, we played Indiana. We should have won that game. Like, so many opportunities to win that game. We should have won that game, but still didn't get it done. Of course, who else did we play? I mean, and then, of course, Troy, looking at them, still
We
another game
played
that we should have won. And then FIU, I don't even count them as an
FIU.
FBS team. Yeah, I mean, it's just ridiculous. 73-0 is ridiculous. But I mean, the wins that we have aren't very impressive, and we have games that we should have won, but we didn't, and it's just frustrating. We could easily be 5-0 right now, easily, and just think of
Yes.
how much of an impact that would make on the national perception of this team versus being 3-2 and being a decent Conference USA team with another good quarterback. It completely changes the narrative of this team and their expectations. But the fact that we did lose these two close games against Indiana and Troy, I mean, I want to see us get a good quality win, and we don't have it yet. UTSA, if we were to pull this off, would be the biggest win that we've had this entire season, hands down. So I
Okay.
would love to see that.
Hawaii is 1-4 right now.
It's not good.
Somehow they are third in the Mountain West.
Must be pretty bad. And also
Well,
another thing that happened was that Indiana lost to Nebraska. So just
Ooh.
putting that out there. So that's pretty terrible.
I've said all along we'd want that game back. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm trying to check some of these other games to see if anybody else has really done anything.
I mean, Austin P is probably decent at FCS level.
Indiana has lost
That's
2
what they're
straight.
doing. Yeah.
Indiana's lost 2 straight. They lost to Cincinnati and Nebraska, and they're probably going to lose this week, spoiler alert, to Michigan.
They're playing Michigan, yeah. There's no way.
Yeah. They've got Maryland after that, Rutgers, Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan State, and Purdue. I said on this show during the Indiana week, if we lose this game, we'll want it back, and we should have beat them. I'm sorry. We should have beaten Indiana, and what aggravates me the most is Indiana wants to act like it's a Super Bowl win, and I'm like, you beat a mid-major team, and you're actually, I mean, it's probably the biggest win you're going to have this year.
Might be the only win they have the rest of this season.
It probably is, and I hope it is. And then FIU. What have you done this year, FIU? Have you done anything?
They beat Bryant in overtime.
Oh, they beat New Mexico State too.
Which they're also terrible, and that's going to be a future Conference USA team in football. So that's another great conference matchup we're going to get to look forward to.
21-7. They've got UConn this week, which I don't know what UConn's done. They got UTSA next week. Charlotte, Louisiana Tech, almost said State. Louisiana Tech, North Texas, FAU, UTEP, MTSU. Yeah, that's like I do agree with your statement. Who have we played? Nobody. We've really played nobody. Troy was a good test, but we haven't played anybody. But it sounds bad.
But the thing is that I mean, the thing is that I would rather be 2-3 with our wins almost against like Indiana and Troy, but I mean it's still, I mean we could be 5-0 so easily, so easily. I just wanted to get us a quality win, and we haven't got it yet. I mean we've taken care of business against the cellar dwellers, but it's going to be a hard road this next few weeks and down the stretch. I mean, playing UTSA in San Antonio this week, then of course playing Middle, which you know how that rivalry goes.
Oh yeah.
And then of course we'll have FAU at some point, and then UAB is going to be thrown in the mix of that at home, and then you have Auburn, being in November on the road in an SEC team. So it's going to be tough. We're really going to see what this team is made out of, and I'm kind of concerned because we've lost a couple of games that we should really have.
Any chance that Western upsets Auburn?
No. Judging by what I saw this past weekend, losing at home to Troy, no. Unless Troy is better than Auburn, which that could be possible. I mean, Auburn's not great this season.
I was going to say Auburn's 3-2, fourth in SEC. They beat Missouri, which, whatever. They beat San Jose State and they beat Mercer. They lost to Penn State and they lost to LSU. I mean, I'm not saying right now this may be a hot take, but this could be like an Arkansas matchup from a few years back. Just saying.
They may just overlook us like Miami overlooked MTSU, and
that's what I'm hoping for. Hey, I'm good with that.
It's the game before Alabama, so there's a very good possibility of that.
Yeah, I would like to see it. I don't think it's going to happen, but Yeah, they're giving Auburn 62% to beat us at their place,
That's still
and that
very generous.
game is still to be determined. So
That's very generous, though. 62% on the road, November SEC team. 62%. I can live with that.
wonder what okay. Western versus MTSU. What do you think it is? What do you think
Probably.
what's the football power index from ESPN saying about Western versus MTSU?
Without looking at it, probably like 60-40 WKU.
It's 67% WKU.
Mm.
Obviously, no money lines or anything on it yet, but that's pretty wild considering what MTSU beat Miami.
Well,
And
what is
then
it for this weekend? You should tell everyone.
I should look that part up, shouldn't I?
Hmm.
Western is favored 54-45. That's a lot closer.
That's a coin flip almost.
Yeah, but the spread's given 6.5 to UTSA. Now, I will say part of that is probably because we're going to the Alamo. The Alamo Dome.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, I know you may not remember this. It's going to be 84 degrees in there on Saturday.
Man, that's hot compared to Bowling Green now.
It's in a dome, and that's what I forgot last year is they played in a dome. So you would think that they would be like, "Hey, let's put this on like 75."
No, just roast everyone.
Yeah, let's put it on 84 because it's going to be hot as all get out.
Honestly, that'll feel cool going inside from Texas into air conditioning, 84 degrees.
Yeah, but the guys are training right now at 70 degrees.
Yeah.
So they're going to be cramping and everything else.
And see, here's another thing too, is that I know it won't be that close to the same, but looking at the environment that UTSA had when we played them in UTSA for the conference championship game was absolutely insane. Like
That was
that
an
to
insane
me,
game.
yeah, that proves to me that they are definitely worthy of being an American Athletic Conference team because they had that place filled. They were loud.
They showed
And
up.
they definitely showed up, and they won the conference title because of that. And do you want to know what I think is crazy? This is definitely true, though. Before Bailey Zappi took his first career NFL snap at Lambeau Field on basically his own 3-yard line in that road environment, the hardest road environment he had seen in the entire season, pretty much, that we had with him at Western was at UTSA.
Yep.
Which that's kind of crazy to think about. And that's where we're going this weekend. And I'm definitely concerned about it.
I don't blame you at all. They showed up. I don't know how well they'll show up this time though. Because of the stakes of the game last time.
Yeah, obviously.
The stadium's a lot bigger than us. It holds 36,582, so about 13 to 16,000 more people. The game will be on ESPN Plus, 7 p.m. Eastern or 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. But if you're in the San Antonio area, definitely go support the Tops. Wear your red. But it's going to be a different environment, and I don't know if they'll show up. They may show up. I'm definitely going to try and catch the game. It'll be interesting to see how everything goes. Sure. Harris is back for UTSA. Sorry.
Yeah.
12 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Brady is their leading running back, 304 yards, 4 TDs. Robichaux's leading us with 315 yards, 1 touchdown. I like watching Robichaux run. Mm-hmm. I was going to say, are you in the same boat as me? This young man, he takes off and it's just like, ooh, go, 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 go. And then, of course, leading for us, we've got Davis, who's leading. I'm really surprised Corley's not in that talk. Maybe it's just because of last week with Davis getting a couple good catches. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty even.
Yeah. I mean, with us being 54%, I'm really surprised that UTSA is not closer.
I would have UTSA favored. That's just my 2 cents.
Well, Vegas does have them favored.
Yeah, but as far as the
Um,
FPI, it has us favored for whatever
I
reason.
don't put a lot in the FPI because as far as I'm concerned, it's some intern. It's
It
nobody in
had us
particular.
beating Troy by like 80%, and that obviously didn't happen.
Yes.
I knew that was going to
Yeah.
be a lot closer than it should have been, which I don't know. I mean, as you said, it could be just some intern at ESPN be like, "Oh, Troy, yeah, it's at Western, so we'll just give them an extra 50%."
Yeah. It in my mind, I picture it's like, hey Jared, did you get those predictions done for the Conference USA games? And you're like,
Conference USA, the heck is
crap,
that?
crap. Yeah. I got those done. Let me click just to get those in real quick. That's what I'm picturing is some kids just
Probably.
like, Western beat Hawaii. They beat FIU by 73. Okay, yeah, we'll just give them all the points here. Here we go. There we go. Let's see how this goes. It's not like some big fancy computer at NASA that figures out who's going to win. But yeah, it's whatever. So after talking a little bit about it, what do you think prediction wise? What are we looking at?
God, I don't want to think about it. I'm starting to get more nihilist as the season progresses, but this will be our litmus test whether or not we're a decent team or a pretty good team. Like last
Yeah,
year, we were a pretty good team and still lost to them twice in one
yeah,
season. And
yeah.
we easily could have won both of those games. Well,
Should have.
the first one, that interception that Zappy had, this cost us the game, which sucked. It was like one of the few interceptions he had, but naturally it cost us the game. And then the second time, we buried ourselves in a hole on defense, and we're so close to crawling our way out of it and just couldn't get it done. We didn't have enough time. We ran out of time. Had there been an extra minute left in that game, I think we could have come back,
Yeah,
but we just didn't have enough time. So my thing is not. I'm not worried about our offense. I am terrified of our defense because we just let
yeah.
Troy get 34 points on us and all those yardage. UTSA is arguably better than Troy is, in my opinion. I'm not feeling great. I would probably say prediction wise, maybe 38-28
38,
UTSA.
28. Who you
UTSA.
giving?
UTSA.
Oh my gosh, man. Um,
It's that road environment plus
uh,
they are just way better than us right now. I want to be proved wrong, but this past weekend did not encourage me any.
well, I mean, and you're talking about the defense against Troy. The defense against Troy had an issue because they kept getting, the offense was turning it over in bad positions for them.
Yeah.
Um,
So I mean we
so
have to
so
take
you,
care of the ball better for sure.
yeah, you got. I mean, so it kind of goes. I mean, I'm not trying to throw shade at the offense, but you've got to, it. Defense just came out of a long drive. Western gets the ball back. They had, two, let's say they fumbled on a second down. That's two downs that the defense got a break.
Hmm.
They didn't get much of a break. Yeah, the guy's conditioning should be better, but at the same point, like they should have, a little bit more of a break, especially from the offense. So I'm not blaming them necessarily on the 34 points. I think there were other issues that clicked into that, but I'm gonna go. I'm gonna say it's. Uh, I'm gonna say. I'm trying to think of how I want to do it. I'm gonna say Western 44 to UTSA 38. So that'll technically be the over.
Maybe.
Over
I
on
hope so.
points.
I've been doing my
And
Q&A with Jared K from Jared Kalmus UTSA
okay,
rivals. He helps with them, and also it's so hard to say, the Alamo Dome Audible. So he's the person we always get, usually either him or
yeah,
Javi. So I sent him his questions. Hopefully I'll have the article up pretty soon, seeing his perspective on it. And
yeah,
also, we got to give the Troy people from last week the benefit of the doubt, because they said they were going
amen.
to beat us in the Q&A, and they did. So I feel like these
Yeah.
people know what they're talking about. So I would definitely put a lot of stock in whatever Jared has to say.
Now, I will say, um, I didn't take stock in the Troy people because in my mind I was picturing like a room full of mats. And that's my opinion. So, somebody who's smoking their own, they're sitting there going, we're going to win. And it's like, I'm not going to take it from you. You know,
But they
yeah,
did.
they were right. I'm not going to argue with that, but we'll, hey, we'll see. What Jared's going to give it to UTSA, and I'm going Tops. Until we put money on it, I am not going to take another team. I'm sorry. If we
All
put
right,
something
if that's
down
how
on
you
it,
want
then
to
we'll go with
roll,
it. That's how I'm
Tops or
going to
die.
roll. That's it. Hey, you're better red than dead, buddy. Better red than dead. Sorry, I'm just making a couple notes.
As that one old American guy said, instead of give me liberty or give me death, give me the Tops or give me death.
That's right. That would be Patrick Henry.
I don't remember history class.
See, I don't do well in geography, but I do remember history.
See, I'm good at geography, but I suck at the American history. At least that kind is. I saw a bald eagle on my way to work the other day, and it was pretty sick. So that's cool.
That is honestly like, and people kind of maybe judge that, but the truth be told, like in our area, there's not a lot of bald
Yeah, it's
eagles.
kind of a rare thing.
So if you see them, it's pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so like I said, Vegas is giving them 6.5, over under 73 points. Both, yeah, I said that. UTSA also beat Army. So that's kind of an interesting stat there.
I wish they could have beat Texas, though. That would have been incredible.
Dude, I'd be sweating this game a lot more if they beat Texas.
Yeah.
Texas is Texas. They had their own network forever. That's one of those you're just like, good gosh.
And that would be like them beating UK. It's like our equivalency of beating UK or Louisville in football.
That would be like us beating Ohio State next year.
Well, I mean, it's in state though. That's what makes it a little more spicy.
Yeah. Well, but Kentucky doesn't really add up to Texas.
Well, I mean, they were probably ranked higher before that game happened, and they lost this past weekend.
Oh, I forgot Kentucky was
and it serves him right because Kentucky's quarterback puts mayonnaise in his coffee, and I hope that they lose out the rest of his career for that. As a barista, he should be in jail, in my opinion. He should not be allowed to consume coffee. Put him in coffee prison.
I don't drink coffee, and that sounds disgusting.
I could never support any program that allows someone to do such a thing like
right?
that.
Like I cannot picture this dude walking around with a jar of mayo and he's drinking coffee. Like, ugh.
I have friends that go to UK, and I feel scared for them that they may come in contact with him on campus on accident and be exposed to
psychopathic. That's psychopathic behavior right there.
If I was the barista at the local Starbucks on UK's campus and I saw him come in, I'd just tell him to get out.
Yeah, just start screaming at him.
Just stop it. Get some help.
Go away now.
It's time to stop.
So just a fun little goofy thing here at the end. But before we do, if you've made it this far in the episode and you want to support us, like, share, and subscribe, review us on iTunes or whatever platform you're on. We appreciate it. It helps the channel. If you'd like to go a step further, you can become a patron. You'll get episodes earlier. I'm thinking about adding some more perks, but you'll be on the Discord. You can ask questions. You can, suggest topics. You can do this, that, and another. We're going to have game talk where we talk during, have group chats during games and all that good stuff. And, it supports the channel. And, if you want to use the affiliate link for Betterhelp, it helps us out too. And it gives you 10% on that. So, the restaurant draft. I saw this and I think it's great. I think it's hilarious because it actually will help. It'll help some of our companions in other countries see which restaurants are top here in the U.S. Okay, Jared. So we're going to do a random number generator. All you have to do is guess even or odd, and this will decide your pick in the draft. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go.
All right. Even.
Okay. The random number generator I used picked 892. So you get the first pick.
So are we doing like fast food or are we doing like sit-in restaurant?
Strictly fast food.
Ooh. All right. With the first pick of the 2022 restaurant draft, I would like to select Raising Cane's.
Raising Cane's. Ooh. Okay. You already messed up.
Nah,
You
it's
already messed up,
good.
son.
It's good. Don't
It's
hate.
good. It's good, but it's not top dog. Okay. With the second pick in the 2022 restaurant draft, I am selecting Chick-fil-A.
I mean, the
Hey,
spicy deluxe
dude,
is great.
first off, Chick-fil-A is like, I don't even know who to compare it to. It's like they can run, they can pass, they can tackle, they can do it all. I mean, if I could vote for a president, like I would put Chick-fil-A in as president because they know how to get a billion people through their restaurant in like 30 minutes. And then they
Yeah.
apologize the entire time that you had to wait. And you're like,
It's
you
because
just
they
had like,
staff. It's not that hard to figure out, but yet every single major corporation in America will refuse to pay people to hire them on and actually have them work and give them hours. That's
yes.
why, I don't know how bad it is in Radcliffe, but in Franklin, if you go anywhere on the weekend, they are critically understaffed. Like I've
Oh yeah.
had people go to my parents went to Cracker Barrel on a Saturday night once, and it took them over 3 hours for everything. It took them like an hour to get seated, an hour to get their food and everything. And
Oh
then
my
I've gone
God.
to Taco Bell on a Sunday after church, like lunch rush. They had two people working, were drive-through only, and could only take orders up to $15 cash. They couldn't even take debit cards because they were so understaffed.
Oh my
And
gosh, dude.
but that's why Chick-fil-A is quick. They get people to work and they have so many people show up all at the same time, and they can afford to do that because they're making
Dude,
money. Is that, I mean, there is a direct correlation between having good staffing and making hella bread.
yeah.
So
But
that's how you fix it, especially like for Starbucks too. That's how we get people out so quick too. I mean, we had like a 76 half hour peak in Springfield, Tennessee, which was 76 total customers in 30 minutes, which it's hard to do that really quick and
heck
consistently.
yeah.
But that's the thing, is that we're staffed for that. So that's kind of a side tangent rant, but I'm just saying that's what makes Chick-fil-A so good and so quick, is the fact that they staff people.
You're
TLDR.
right. You're not wrong. But the system that they have, I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Um, you know, the system, the way everything's set up. I mean, and of course you see memes and people making jokes about it all the time, but like Chick-fil-A just completely has this I don't know, attitude, demeanor where it's just, "Oh, I'm sorry about your wait, sir. We're gonna pay for your child's college," you know? And you're like, "Wait, what?" It's okay. It was only 5 minutes, you know? It was only a couple minutes. I played on my phone the whole time. It's not a big deal. Um, okay, Jared, your second pick in the 2022 restaurant draft.
I'm gonna pick local for my third pick, and I would like to select number 3 overall, Shogun Express in Bowling Green.
Okay, I will say this. It's funny you say Shogun. We actually had a Shogun in Elizabethtown that had a roach infestation. Not even kidding. A kid, I think a kid or a parent or somebody, saw one crawl out from under the table, and so they went and got the manager. And the manager came over, looked under the table. There was like an infestation under this damn table. I try not to curse, but I have to highlight that it was under this table. So they were like, "I am so sorry. We'll comp your food. I'm sorry. You know, we're going to have to close this table." And somebody else came up and said, "Hey, we got something over here." It turns out like the entire restaurant was infested. They had to close it. They closed it,
Man,
kicked people out, and had to have the place sprayed. That was in the paper. That
that's
was in the
pretty
local paper.
embarrassing.
It's embarrassing and it's disgusting all on its own. So you say Shogun
It is
Bistro.
really good. I mean, you getting a bowl there is always really solid. I like it a little bit better than Panda, but yeah.
This is a tough one for me. I'm trying to think of what another good one. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go with Culver's.
Mm, there you go.
Culver's Butter Burgers. I think that's a good 1 and 2. That's. I mean, that's like back in the day. You get Megatron and you get Gronk, and you would be basically beating everybody in your league.
For number 5, I'm gonna raise your Culver's, which is delicious. I can't argue that, especially
Oh,
those
definitely.
cheese curds. But give me Whataburger because it is
Ooh, okay.
coming. It's coming. There's one in Gallatin, one in Hendersonville, and I think that they're making more in the area too. Like in that kind of like northern Middle Tennessee area. Like it is an accessible drive. So I mean, I have to
Okay.
hit it up every now and then. But when Bowling Green, if they get a Whataburger, man,
Dude, I'm gonna
man,
have to try that. I've heard In-N-Out and Whataburger are like amazing.
it's so good. I mean, I don't know if we'll ever get it in and out on the East Coast, like east of the Mississippi, basically, because that's like a very big, like Western California
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
But man, Whataburger is slowly working its way up. Like it's within like a 40-minute drive for me now. That's how close it is. It used to, the closest one before they came into Tennessee was all the way down in Montgomery, Alabama.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's a ways. I'm trying to think. All right, for the 6th pick in the 2022 NFL, or sorry, in the restaurant draft, I am going to go with. This is a tough one for me. I'm going. I don't want to. I feel like I'm just gonna pee down my leg, so to speak, on this pick.
It's
I'm gonna
fine.
go with Wendy's.
That's okay. No, the
I'm gonna
spicy
go with
chicken
Wendy's.
sandwich is pretty. That's
It's
the
that's my favorite.
Asiago, the
Yeah.
Asiago Club, with the
Yes.
spicy chicken. Yeah, that's good.
Um. Yeah. Wendy's is a good one for me. I actually got food poisoning from them earlier this year, so uh, yeah, fix your stuff, Wendy's. But other than that, everything else has been great. It sounds bad, but like locally, there's a rule that you don't go to the certain Wendy's after 5 o'clock because that's when the manager leaves.
Mm.
So yeah, I made that mistake, and I won't do it again. All right, Jared, the 7th overall pick, buddy.
With the 7th overall pick, I'm gonna have to go with just for the fact that I eat there so freaking much. I have to go with Pizza Hut because no one can out Pizza the Hut.
You are
It's
correct,
good.
sir.
It's good. The Detroit style pizza, I don't know if you've had that yet, but the sauce on it is incredible. It's so good. It's different than their regular sauce that they use for like their standard pizzas. So 10 out of 10. Also, their wings are still really good too.
Ooh,
So, I mean, the wings, the pizza, the breadsticks are always pretty solid. I mean, pizza, there's literally a Pizza Hut that's walking distance from my work. So often I'll place a mobile order, go pick it up on my 30 and then take it back inside and eat it. And it hits every time. And it's actually really good. Shout out to Pizza Hut of Springfield, Tennessee.
okay. Now for me, Pizza Hut is a very nostalgic place because in Scottsville, that's all we had was a Pizza Hut for like
Yeah.
my entire childhood. Um, and like we had the Galaga game in the Pizza Hut there in Scottsville, and like for me, like going into that Pizza Hut, if they don't have the Galaga or the old CD player jukebox, like
Oh, yeah.
forget it, just write it off. I don't even want to go in there. Here's one for me. I'm gonna get a little redemption here. And for the 8th pick in the 2022 restaurant draft, I am taking Qdoba.
Oh, yeah. I forgot
There
about
we go.
them.
There we go.
Yeah.
I got that. That's my saving grace. I'll go with that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, bud. What do you got?
What are we up to now? Is it 9?
9, yes, and we're going to 10.
Man, ugh, this is so difficult because I'm trying to think of every place that I eat at all of the time.
It is. It's tough. I'll give you that. It's tough.
It's so hard. And then, of course, Bowling Green. I had a time when I was either in college or high school where I went out to eat with one of my friends, and it took us like 30 minutes to try to decide where we wanted to eat at in Bowling Green just because there's so many options. Oh my
It really
God.
is. There really
Yeah,
is.
which is a good problem to have.
I think Bowling Green has the highest restaurants restaurants and hotels per capita,
Yeah,
and they're
which
just
is
getting more
wonderful.
all the time.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about.
It really is.
Man. So I guess with the 9th pick for me, my last pick, I know we've already kind of talked about chicken stuff, but I mean, also still close to where I work at is Zaxby's, and Zaxby's is
Oh,
still really solid. I mean, you can't go wrong with some Zaxby's every now and then.
no.
And they're new, I heard that their new loaded fries are incredible. I haven't got to try them yet. It's like these fries with chicken and like ranch and
That
cheese
sounds
and all
really
these
good.
extra things. It sounds really, really good. I haven't got to have them yet, but I really want to. Hopefully, pretty soon I'll have to get some. So
Yes, and you're gonna have to text me and let me know how that goes.
yeah.
I'm gonna go wild card on this one. I am going to take. And my wife loves this place. I'm gonna take Panda Express for the last pick in the restaurant draft.
Understandable. I mean, it's still the orange chicken is still so good.
I think the orange chicken carries it.
Hmm.
I like the fried rice, but I mean, like you can go to a family-owned Chinese restaurant and get better fried rice.
Oh yeah, easily.
But like, and my daughter loves their egg rolls.
Hmm.
So, hey, whatever, float your boat. Let us know in the comments who you think won the restaurant draft. Okay. Did I win with Chick-fil-A, Culver's, Wendy's, Qdoba, and Panda Express? Or did Jared win with the Raising Cane's, Shogun Bistro? Excuse me. Raising Cane's, Shogun Bistro, What a Burger, Pizza Hut, and Zaxby's. Which, by the way, the Pizza Hut pick is like probably one of my favorite picks, just because.
I mean, you can't out pizza the Hut.
You really can't, and that's why I didn't pick any more pizzas, because that's the truth.
Hmm.
There's other pizza places out there, but I don't think they do it as well. Just saying.
Exactly.
My wife's a Domino's person, and if I'd known that when we got married, I don't know if we would have.
Yeah,
I'm completely kidding. But yeah, but seriously, like I'm not a big a fan of Domino's as she is. She loves Domino's, but
the Brooklyn style pizza there is good. I'll give them that. But
so
other than that,
definitely check back next week. Yeah. Papa John's delivers to us, and with them being quote local, I try to support the Kentucky business here, which they're not, I guess, anymore, but whatever. And I think Shaq bought Papa John's. Did you hear about that?
yeah, he's coming to Western to DJ before the UAB game.
Yeah, that's what I heard. That's pretty. That's what somebody. What's his rapper name?
It's like DJ Diesel or something like that.
Which,
naturally,
way,
I'll be on vacation when that happens, so I won't get to go to that game. But if you get a picture with Shaq, consider yourself blessed. He is one of the meme gods of sports, and just like he's been in every single commercial ever. So I mean, everybody loves Shaq. I don't know a single person that dislikes Shaq.
I don't know how you would hate Shaq. I really don't. Check back next week. We'll have another episode up next week. Join our Patreon. You'll get this episode faster. And like I said, I've got something in the works. I'm going to add something to our Patreon to add a little more spice to it, so you all can have a little more benefits, and we'll see how it goes. Okay. But definitely check back next week. And as always, guys, go Tops.
Go Tops. I'll see you.
Appreciate it, Jared. See you, bud.